Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to Funky Monkey MMA.
Welcome to another edition of the XFC on Funky Monkey MMA Radio. I'm Rob Mead, being joined today by Fred Rodriguez. How you doing today, bud?
Doing real good, Rob. Happy to be back.
Good to have you back on here, man. Today we got coming on the show Stephanie Skinner. She will be fighting Angelica Chavez on September 6th in Albuquerque, New Mexico at XFC 25. You can catch that live on Access TV. How you doing today, Steph?
I'm doing all right. How are you guys doing?
Doing great.
Real good.
Let's get right down into it. How was it that you originally got involved in the sport?
I saw some local fights that came to my hometown, and there was just one female fight on the card, and I'd never really seen any females fighting on any local MMA cards, so to see them on a small venue like that, it made me want to jump in and try it out.
So what's your background? What kind of other sports did you play?
I was a college athlete. I played college basketball. I was a soccer player and basketball player all throughout high school. So I never really did any contact sports. I mean, I did karate a little bit when I was young, but for the most part, just soccer and basketball all my life.
So what do you consider yourself? A striker, grappler? What's your style?
Definitely a striker. Our gym just recently became one of the new hot boxes for Bang Muay Thai, so we're a Bang Muay Thai affiliate now. So our gym is definitely known for its stand-up, and that's what my team is known for.
Very cool. What do you know about your opponent that you're fighting, Angelica Chavez?
She's a pretty well-rounded fighter, very impressive on the ground, obviously. 4 straight pro wins to start off her career, all by submission. So, everyone thinks it's the standard grappler versus striker fight that we're going to have, and we'll just see how that plays out.
So,
that's kind of where we got our... Go ahead.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to ask you, who do you consider to be your biggest inspiration?
My biggest inspiration. I'd say definitely Ronda Rousey. A lot of people would say that, but I knew who Ronda Rousey was before. She hit the UFC before she was in Showtime, so I knew who she was prior to. So to see someone make it like that, I guess another inspiration would definitely just be my coach. My coach has been training at this for about 7 years, and she started off 100 pounds and not knowing what she was doing, and now she's ranked 10th in the world in the atom weight class division.
Right on.
So is your gym predominantly female?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Is your gym predominantly female? Do you have mostly girls at your gym?
No, it's not. We actually only have 3 females on our team. Fortunately for me, we're all 105-pounders, so I get to train with girls that are my size on a daily basis. But other than that, it's all males.
You fight at 105 pounds?
Yes, sir.
I think I just had that for dinner.
It's not very big, I'll tell you that.
Well, so what's your height? What are you, 5'5", 5'6"?
I'm about 5'4.5". I'd like to round it to 5'5", but I'll be honest.
I love it. Anybody under 5'5" has to claim the half inch, just in case.
I'll claim the half inch.
Absolutely. So what's your biggest strength other than being a predominantly striker? Is it a Muay Thai kicks? Are you going to clinch with her? What's your strategy walking into a fight?
I want to stand and bang. I don't like to go and watch a fight where 2 people lay on the ground on top of each other and one person is just staying heavy hips the whole time. I like it to be exciting. I want to see an exciting fight when I go watch venues, so I want to put on an exciting fight and showcase the Muay Thai style that my gym has.
So since you're a girl fighting, I'm going to ask you some girl questions that I've always just wondered about. There's groin strikes. We see those every time. Every time there's a groin strike in the UFC, they got to show the replay 50 times to show you, where you hit. And, we all feel that. What are you worried about as far as, fouls and that sort of thing? What do you guys notice more than we do?
I'm not really sure we notice more than you do. I think it's just more so once you get in there. I mean, we can watch over and over and notice things, but until you actually experience it, there's really not much more that we notice than you do, and so we can feel it.
I see. I noticed Benson Henderson and when he's fighting, and even Clay Guida, and they have long hair, and that's all I can equate it with. And I see most of the girls wear their hairs in braids and stuff like that. Is there a preference for you having your hair short, having it put up? To me, it just drives me nuts when I see Benson every 5 seconds pulling his hair out of his head in the middle of a fight.
For me, I rock a faux hawk, so I don't have to worry about the long hair anymore. I used to have long hair down past my shoulders, and I hated every day in practice where I had to, keep putting my ponytail up and wipe my bangs out of my eyes. And, so I like the short hair. I don't know how people with long hair do it anymore. I probably won't go back to long hair for a while, at least while I'm fighting, just because it's so convenient to have short hair.
Yeah, I can feel that. I can see that it would be just, I always feel like that's going to come back and haunt somebody when they're wearing their hair like that they're going to go this time to move it out of their head, and it's going to happen. And it just seems like with, the girl fights, it just seems like that's going to be at some point it's going to happen where somebody goes to adjust, and that happens.
Oh, yeah, it's just only a matter of time until it happens, and then people are like, oh, crap, maybe we should do something about it.
I agree with you. So before you're going out to the cage, before you're going out there to fight, what's your preparation? What's your mental preparation? Are you visualizing? What goes through your mind?
I'm a lot of a visualizer. I'll sit down in a corner, put my headphones in my ear, put my hood up, and I just like a little bit of solitude. I like to be alone for like 10 or 15 minutes prior to going into the cage. I like to just sit and visualize, see the fight and all the different ways it can end. And just for me, it's all visualization.
Right on. So do you get that mode where you have to have animosity towards your opponent? I've found that when I fight, I don't. It's just like, for me, it's like playing basketball against my friend. I still want to, beat them by 1,000,000 points, but I'm not going out there and try to kill them. And if I have to fight one of my friends, I'm not thinking about, taking their head off. I'm trying to win as efficiently as possible. But I notice that a lot of fighters have that animosity. I noticed that Ronda, watching her fights or prepare for her fights and building up, especially to this one, just seeing the clips from The Ultimate Fighter, that she seems to have animosity towards her opponent. How do you feel about that?
I think for some fighters, they do have to have that animosity, they have to have that anger and rage to get mad, to be able to step into the cage and, fight somebody. For me, it's just enough knowing that I'm stepping into the cage to fight is all that I need to know. I don't need to hate the person I'm fighting. If I don't like them, that's that much better. It's a little more anger I could take out on them, but I don't feel like I have to have that animosity factor to go ahead and be dominant in a fight.
So when it's all done, what do you want folks to remember you for at the end of your career?
Sorry, what was that? My phone just broke up.
Oh, when it's all said and done, what do you want people to remember you for at the end of your career?
I think I like to be remembered for my styles. My nickname's the Scrapper, and I have that nickname for a reason. I didn't give it to myself. It was given to me by my fans who watched my first fight. And so I just want the world to remember me for the person that went out there and left it all in the cage and always put on a great show.
Right on. So what would you say separates you from every other competitor that steps in there?
I think right now what separates me is just my heart and will. I know a lot of people in this sport fight with heart and honor. For me, I'm fighting, to prove to myself that this is a sport that I belong in. I started off with a 0-3 record. I started off, I wasn't training like a pro. I was in a garage with some friends in Wyoming on some wrestling mats and a heavy bag. But now, I'm fighting to prove to everyone and to prove to myself that I'm here to compete and I'm here to win. And I have so much heart behind everything that I do. And it'll show when I fight, and it'll show, all over. Everyone will see it.
Absolutely. So if you could step in there with anyone, whether it be, a fighter or just a politician or whoever, who would it be?
That's a hard question. I think I'd want to step in there with my older brother. I haven't got to brawl with him enough in my lifetime, and he still gets under my skin on a daily basis. So I think I'd just like to step into the ring with him and have the cage door locked for 5 minutes and see how he handles it.
We should make that fight happen. We're calling you out right now, big brother.
They'll probably see it on Facebook and talk about it. Very
nice. So you fight at 105. Do you have to cut much weight to make that 105?
Not really. I don't really walk too far off from 105, so the weight cut for me, it's not anything excruciating. I'm not someone cutting down from 125 pounds to make 105, so I'm not really worried about it.
So after you're done training, cutting weight, fighting, what's the first meal you're going to have?
I think I'm going to have a pizza and some chocolate dunkers.
I think that's the number one answer. Everybody answers pizza.
Well, it's got to be that cheap food that everybody likes.
Absolutely. So other than doing MMA, what do you do for fun? What do you do outside of fighting?
I live in Colorado, so I like to take advantage of the fact that I live in a beautiful state. We have the mountains, we have the lakes, the creeks, and rivers. I like to go and hike. I've hiked St. Mary's Glacier. I've been out to Pikes Peak. So I like to be outside, Not really one to not do anything. Sitting around for hours on end is boring to me. So if I have a free Saturday or Sunday, I like to go out and make a Sunday fun day out of it.
So you're out in Colorado, so you're training at altitude all the time. How do you think that prepares you when you're getting in the octagon? I hear the big difference. I've actually been there and been in really good shape and get to Colorado and jog up a hill and I feel like I'm going to die of an asthma attack. How does that give you an advantage?
It gives us a great advantage. Our training at high altitude, having red rocks, having the flat irons to go and run trails, just makes for that much better cardio endurance. In the case in fighting in Albuquerque, their elevation is actually like 100 foot higher than Denver, so it's not the same. But if I were fighting anywhere else that were lower elevation, I'd have a advantage, I feel.
Oh, that's right. She is from Albuquerque, isn't she? So you're going to be fighting a fellow, somebody with fellow, that same kind of cardio. So how are your family and friends supportive of this? I know when I first started doing this, I didn't have a lot of people behind me. When I first started training, I actually trained, I trained a woman named Becky Levi, and I'd never actually seen a woman fight before I started training Becky. And Becky is a heavyweight, and she's one of the pioneers of the sport. What's up, Becky, if you're listening? And it was hard for me when I first did it to actually watch Becky get hit. So how did your family react to that?
I was raised by my dad and my grandparents. My grandma, she likes it. She's a supporter of it. She always knew that I was going to do something violent with my life, whether it was fighting in a cage or, going and being in the Army or something. But she always knew I was going to do something a little on the edge. My dad, he still has a hard time swallowing the pill about it. He hasn't watched many of my fights. He watched my first amateur fight. He's seen a couple of my pro fights, and then he kind of just was like, I can't watch it. But, now that I've taking the time off to better myself. I went 2-1 last year under my new coaches. He's like, all right, well, now that you're training right and you're winning fights, I'll be there to support you. I'll be there to watch it. But my friends, they'll love it. They're like, dude, that's cool. Not a lot of people can do it, and it takes a special kind of person to be able to step into a cage and know that you're going there to get in a fight.
Yeah, absolutely. When those cage doors lock, when you hear that chain go on or you hear that door go down, you're a man and you walk in that cage, or a man. I'm sorry, but there's something. Intestinal fortitude is what old wrestling commentators used to have it. But if you don't have that, you're not getting in that door when that door shuts. You find out real quick.
Yep, you sure do.
So, what's your game plan for the rest of the year? I know you're probably not looking past your opponent here. But in the best of possible worlds, where are you headed after this fight?
In the perfect world, I would end up winning this fight, and the XFC would sign me to a long-term contract and keep building the 105-pound division. And that's the goal. That's the plan that we want. Want to have a good showing. Want to come out with my hand raised and show the XFC that Stephanie Skinner's a fighter that you want to keep around.
Absolutely. Well, speak to the XFC. Everybody we've talked to about the XFC has really had a lot of good things to say about it. And, getting a chance to fight on Access Television, how does that affect you? How do you feel about all that?
At first when they approached me and told me that they draw X amount of viewers and this and that, it's a little overwhelming, and it's cool at the same time to know that a promotion has come to you that has this much recognition and they want you to fight on the card. As time goes on and with each passing interview, you become more and more comfortable with the idea and the fact. And a lot of people think that, since Angelica's fought on a big stage already, she fought for Invicta that, you know, I'm going to be the one with the jitters, and the jitters are going to get the best of me. But I know come time when that cage door closes, the only thing that matters is me and the girl across the cage.
Absolutely.
Yeah, do you hear the crowd? Do you hear people that you know in the crowd? Can you hear, I mean, I'm sure you hear your coaches, but can you hear, you know, your friends yelling at you while you're in the middle of the cage? I never did.
You know, no, I really don't. I can tone everything out. I can mainly hear my coach, Diana, and then I can hear my coach, Ben, when I'm just honing in on his voice. But as far as the crowd, that's just a sound that I can drown out.
Right on.
So when you're in there getting your information from your coach, and he says, you know, go low or do a low kick, grab the clinch, at what point do you react to that action? Are you reacting right at the moment, or do you think, wait, I see something else? How are you reacting to that coaching right then?
You know, I usually try to react right at the moment. We watched one of my prior fights not too long ago, and I put my hand on the mat, and I hear my coach, Ben, he's like, hey, get your hand off the mat. And as soon as he said that, I took my hand off the mat, and then I could hear him say thank you. And so, you know, I try to react right to it when I hear it, unless I see something. But I know my coaches, I trust my coaches, and if they see something, they're not going to tell me anything wrong.
Yeah, I feel that too. And I watched some of your fights today. There's a few of them on YouTube, and that's why I kind of asked the question.
Well, thanks for taking the time to look at my videos.
Preparation.
So I wanted to ask you, Steph, when it's about 10 minutes before the fight starts, you know, you're sitting backstage, what's going through your head in that moment?
Butterflies and adrenaline. You know, you're going to think, how hard's the first hit? And then after that, you know, I don't think of anything. I go into a fight and I think, I want to get hit. I want to see how hard the person can hit. In my last couple fights, I see that the other person hit me first because I want to know what I'm dealing with. And in my mind, I feel you're not going to hit any harder than I've ever been hit in my life. And so to me, it's just a game. You know, I'm a competitor. Everything in life that I do is a competition. You know, and this obviously is a competition, so in my head, it's all a game.
I think you just came up with a slogan for a new T-shirt company. Little girls are made up of butterflies and adrenaline.
I'll put it on the back of my next walkout shirt.
I might have to take that and put that on a T-shirt.
Go for it. I'll sign it for you if you do it.
Absolutely.
So if someone goes through your iPod, what is the the most embarrassing song they'd find on there?
It's either Call Me Maybe or Barbie Girl.
I rock Call Me Maybe all the time when nobody's looking. I'll admit it.
Oh, see, me too. I jam it in the car. I even have a little dance to it that I'll do from time to time if no one's looking, but sometimes, you know, I get caught. It happens.
You have a dance to Call Me Maybe that has to go on YouTube. You know the OGers want to see it. I almost went a whole show without talking about the OGers.
I'll think about it. It's kind of an embarrassing dance, though. I mean, dancing to that song and being an MMA fighter, but I'd probably get a lot of views on it.
That's all. As long as they spell your name right, no publicity is bad publicity.
We'll give it a shot.
Well, we do this little thing here where we have we're going to have a championship at the end of the year where we have the fighters pick fights. And since there's a card on tonight, we thought we'd see if we can get you to pick some fights for tonight and get your picks, and then we'll keep track of who does the best and go from there.
Okay, sounds good.
Rob's probably got the card in front of him.
Yeah,
I don't.
Up in the first fight, we got Carlos Condit. He's taking on Martin Kampman. Who do you see winning that one?
We got Carlos.
Carlos?
Yeah.
We got Donald Cowboy Cerrone taking on Rafael Dos Anjos.
Definitely going with Cerrone.
Ultimate Fighter winner Kelvin Gastelum taking on Brian Melanson.
Let's go with Ultimate Fighter winner.
Right on. And we got, this is going to be a good one, Court McGee taking on Robert Whitaker.
I am a Court McGee fan.
I think everybody's a Court McGee fan.
Then we got also Bubba McDaniel. He's taking on Brad Tavares.
McDaniel.
I was going to be upset if you didn't pick my boy, Bubba. Let's go, Bubba. We'll make picks against you, and then we will, or, we'll make our picks, and then we'll compare at the end of the year, and whoever has the best picks, we will probably give a title belt to.
Sounds good.
The Funky Monkey Championship belt. We've only got a few minutes left. Is there some sponsors and some people you want to thank? Somebody you want to give a shout-out to? The floor is yours.
Yeah, for sure. I'd like to go ahead and thank my coaches, Benjamin Schistler and Diana Royale, all my training partners at Cereal Box. My sponsors, I'd like to thank Cereal Box MMA, MMA Mass Destruction, American Ground and Pound, Inksmith Tattoo, the law offices of Tracy Nicholas, Destiny Gonzalez, Jack and Grill, MMAJam.ca, JKD Duck, LA Boxing. I'd like to thank the XFC for giving me the opportunity to fight for them. I'd like to thank you guys for having me on the show today.
Yeah, we'd love to have you back on so I can make you laugh and play and see that dance.
All right, well, I'm going to make a deal. If I put the video up, then I'll come back and talk to you guys.
Deal. Done.
Sounds good.
So, everyone, if you actually, you know what? Do you have any words for your opponent before she gets, before you guys meet?
My words for my opponent, I wish you luck in the cage and best of skill to us both in our XFC debuts. I'm a very respectable and honorable opponent, and I will treat my opponents the same way.
Right on. All right, Stephanie, thank you for coming on the show today. Really appreciate it, and we'd love to have you back on.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. You guys have a good rest of your day.
You too.
Thanks, you too, Steph.
Bye-bye.
Real quick before we go, I want to give a shout-out to our sponsors, KOBKfighter.com. They got some badass $10 T-shirts, some awesome gi shorts. Go ahead and like them on Facebook as well. Visit them on their website over at KOBKfighter.com. Also, while you're at it, you can go ahead and check us out on Facebook, facebook.com/TheFunkyMonkeyMMA. Follow us on Twitter, @FunkyMonkeyMMA. You can also subscribe to us on iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher Radio, Blog Talk Radio, and we're getting on a lot more platforms here soon, so keep that in mind. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can go ahead and send us an email over at funkymonkeymma@gmail.com. And also, I wanted to mention something we recently entered. It's the Intuit contest for small businesses to win a Super Bowl commercial. And right now we're receiving a ton of votes. I mean, you guys have been very supportive, and we really appreciate it. If you'd like to go ahead and vote for us, it takes a couple seconds. You don't got none of that. Go ahead, head on over to http://intuit.me/1AJHXKQ. Go ahead and vote for us on there.
We're going to post that on our Facebook wall as well, so you guys can click on that and find us that way. And we appreciate all your votes. Maybe you can see me and Rob on the Super Bowl commercial. And if any of our guests have been on the show in the past, maybe your faces will get on there too.
Absolutely.
So who you have in the main event tonight, Rob?
Oh, man, I really don't know to choose in this one, but I got to go with Campman. I mean, it's going to be a close fight. I already know that, but I think Campman's going to pull this one out.
And Campman won a split decision last time, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. So this is a rematch. We'll see what happens. I'm actually watching the prelims while I'm talking to you.
Already on?
Yeah, well, they started at 2 o'clock.
Oh, dang. And who you taking? Cowboy Cerrone versus Rafael Dos Anjos?
Man, that's a pick-em for me. If the Cowboy Cerrone, who showed up in his last 2 fights, shows up, I'm going to pick Cowboy Cerrone. But Cowboy's got a tendency to just drop his hands and go to war, and that's a mistake against Dos Anjos. So it's a really tough one for me. I'm going to go with Cowboy on this, and hope he cowboys up on this time and doesn't, sticks to his game plan and wins the fight with his skills. He's got a high level on the ground game. He's got a high level striking game. Just gets in too many wars.
Absolutely. And also, I wanted to mention real quick, Brian Melanson, who is on Ultimate Fighter winner Kelvin Gastelum, we done an interview with him a few weeks ago. If you want to go ahead and check it out, you can check it out on iTunes. It's on YouTube. He's fighting Kelvin Gastelum tonight, so make sure you tune in and watch that. Good luck tonight, Brian. Pulling for you, man.
For sure. I see all the on the OG and the UG people and all the posts out there. They're really sleeping on Brian. They're making a mistake.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And, of course, I'm going to pick Brian in that fight. And, the next fight would be Brad Tavares and Bubba McDaniel, and I don't think anybody has to guess who I'm picking. That's going to be a good fight, man. Brad Tavares is a tough dude. Bubba comes in confident and sticks to his game plan, though. Bubba can beat anybody in the world if he's on.
Absolutely.
So we got Bubba on that one. Let's see how
carded. What was that?
Yeah, I said let's see how this card turns out. Hopefully I beat Stephanie. I'll feel bad if she beats me picking fights.
And who did you say was going to win the main event? Who did you have in that one?
I was trying to be a chicken and not pick somebody. But I'm going to go with Condit in this one. His last two fights were losses, but they were against the top two guys in the world. I feel like he's going to come back from those two fights a little stronger. And I think in the last few years he's faced a harder competition. So I'm going to go with Condit in this one.
Right on.
I didn't want to lose my perfect record.
What was that?
I said I didn't want to lose my perfect record.
All right, guys, this has been another edition of the Funky Monkey MMA Radio. We thank you for tuning in. I'm Rob Meade.
I'm Fred Rodriguez.
And we're out. Have a great night.
You're listening to Funky Monkey MMA.